So today we're going to be digging up some dahlias. This dahlia here is one dahlia that I do believe potentially rotted, so I don't even know if there's going to be anything there for me to get. I'm just going to show you guys the ones that I'm going to dig up. So this one, I may let it die back a little bit more. You can see the leaves are starting to turn, and so I don't, because it still has a lot of green foliage on it and even a few little buds, I don't want to pull it too early. Here's a dahlia that's still trying to go in all its pretty pink glory. And of course this one back here, which was my favorite dahlia of the year. Let me get up close. And this one is still blooming pretty strong. Look at that. So beautiful. I think this may be one of the prettiest blooms. This one looks a little different, maybe because it's been getting cooler, but nonetheless, blooms are still there, or buds rather. Now I have this one back here that you guys can see. Ooh, pretty butterfly, and it is it's starting to die back. So I was thinking about pulling it today. I'm not sure yet about that one. I'm not sure yet. And then this is one that I didn't get to show y'all on the actual tour, dahlia tour, because it was budding but it hadn't bloomed. So here's a new bloom. This is my border variety, and there's a bloom that's about to be spent, but you can see there are buds on it. So this was actually my very first dahlia of the year to actually produce. So here it is. There's another dahlia back there that did not get any taller than this. The heat really stunted it. Not here to show you this, but you guys know I'm a sucker for roses, so another pretty rose. There's a dahlia back there that I'm definitely gonna let die back, especially since it's in the pot. I'm not really in a rush to get that one out yet. Here is, I shared this photo with you guys before, but this pretty strawberry blonde sunflower. So there's that right there. This dahlia, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get that. That's Brittany in the background, so hopefully it's not too loud. I think that's one, so I'm definitely gonna dig that one up, and this one's getting dug up today. That's just a quick overview of the ones that I'm gonna dig. I'm gonna go ahead and dig them up, and then we're gonna start slowly putting them in the back until all of them are eventually dug up. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I have pulled up all of the dahlias that I was able to pull up today. So in total, I pulled up 5 dahlias, and I'm gonna go ahead and plant these today with you guys in the dahlia bed that I have been talking about. I have 3 more dahlias. One is the border dahlia, which is the little red one that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video, and then of course the 2 dahlias that actually still had those beautiful blooms on them. I'm obviously not about to disturb those, and honestly you guys, if the ground happens to get too hard before I am able to pull those up, they are gonna have to stay out there in the front because I don't really want to risk damaging them. So hopefully I'll be able to maybe after a first good frost. I think when we had that first frost that we had, well, it wasn't really a frost, it didn't get down to the point where it actually gave us any kind of freeze or hard freeze, so I feel like that's why so many of these hung on so well. But after the first real frost, before the ground actually solidifies for the season, I am going to try to go back out there and see if I can finish getting the rest of those. So today we have 5 of them that I'm just gonna, you guys are pretty much just gonna replant these with me. I am gonna be using my Biotone root starter just so that they can get acquainted really well and try to put on new roots. Some of these dahlias, I had 2 dahlias in total that rotted out on me, which I wasn't surprised by it because just looking at them I could tell they had already rotted underneath. So 2 of those are gone. Some of these dahlias had tubers that had kind of rotted, but the main part of the tuber was still very nice and healthy. So I'm pretty much just gonna wash these off and clean and get the old soil off of them, just so I don't bring anything from the front into my back garden bed. And then I'm also going to clip off a few of the old roots, and if there's any new roots that are white and healthy, I'm going to leave those and let the root tone or let the biotone do its job. And then I'm also going to finally clip back the foliage that are on some of these. So some people say to let them completely die back. I'm just gonna take my chance. I'm one of those gardeners where I will take a chance, so that's just something you should know about me. I don't completely break the rules, but some rules I do at least bend them to honestly just to try stuff out, trial and error. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to do that. Now at first I was contemplating maybe I should buy some more dahlias, because the ones that I did not get, the ones that didn't make it. But I think in total, after those two in the front that I told you guys still had blooms, and then that one that's in that pot that didn't, that only had foliage, I think honestly I'll have 8 tubers here in the ground, and I'm probably just going to leave it at that. I think one of my biggest problems as a gardener is that I have a problem with overfilling my beds. I just get excited and I want a lot of different stuff to grow, and so that's why I kind of went to container gardening a little bit this year, because I these things need proper spacing. That's the bottom line. I bought dinner plate dahlias for the most part, so I really want to give them a fair and honest chance this year or next year. So I think I'm just gonna honestly stop here and just see what happens next season. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and wash these off, and then I'm gonna get these down in the ground. I'm also going to take you guys along with me and fertilize. In the previous video I told you guys that I was going to be fertilizing. Well, today is the day. It is Friday, so I'm gonna go ahead and fertilize these beds and show you guys pretty much what I do with it, and that's gonna be it. So now you guys are just gonna watch me pretty much put these in the ground. I'm gonna rinse these. This is one of the ones here. You can see where some of the old tubers rotted off. So, but you can still see how nice and healthy these are. So this one here, I'd already rinsed it off. So just wanted to show that to y'all. And then this is my most impressive one. This one actually looks like it, well, they all look like they pretty much put on new tubers, but this one still has a decent amount of the old ones and some new ones coming in. And I'm not sure if the camera's gonna catch it, but right up in here I can even see a new eye coming in. I saw one somewhere else too, but now I think I've lost it after picking it up. Now I'm not too sure if you guys can hear me, so hopefully you can. I'm gonna dig these holes as big as I can dig them and as deep as I can dig them without me bumping into the cardboard that's at the bottom. This bed was filled with cardboard before we actually put the soil in. The cardboard appears to be breaking down too, but I'm just letting you guys know that in case you, I know some people say to dig them deeper, but I didn't dig these entire, I didn't follow the planting instructions. Again, I told you guys I bend the rules a little bit, and I still got dahlias this year, so I'm just gonna dig a hole as I see fit and go from there. Okay, so out of all of them, this was the biggest tuber that I had. I wanted to bring you guys in close just so you can see the hole, and you can see I'm trying to lay it as flat as I possibly can. And also with tubers, any tuber, you're supposed to make sure that when you plant them that the eye is facing upward, which, you know, that makes sense. So I have it in here now. If you don't know where your eyes are, the eyes will find their way upward, but you want to just give them a hand and go ahead and do your best to face them upward if you can see them. So I think I've got an eye. Yeah, I've got one right here, and I'm not sure if this one, but nonetheless they're in the upward direction. So I just wanted to bring you guys closer just so you can at least see about how big the hole is. And I know you all just saw me clipping some of those, clipping the foliage that grew back down. So these are still eyes. You can go ahead and you can clip them down, and they typically grow back. So there's one. And I'm also trying to do a better job at spacing too. I told you guys that, but also like the spacing in between them. So I definitely know I won't be buying any new dahlias because, you know, this is a smaller bed and they just won't have a lot of space. So that's 3 so far. I've got 2 more that I gotta try to figure out where I'm gonna put them. I may go ahead and put them in the front because they're not gonna grow up right now. Since I have these 3 like this, instead of putting them directly in front, maybe kind of offset them so that they can have room to kind of grow in between. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then when I get those other 3 dahlias, they'll go behind. Now the only thing I'm worried about with this bed is sometimes even on the sunniest day, this bed doesn't get a lot of sunlight. Like you can see here, these are getting a decent amount of light, but we will see, because I know dahlias definitely need sunlight, but last year they just got burned up. So again, I'm just sticking them here to see if they will do better next year. Okay, so now the dahlias are here. I'm just gonna go ahead and fertilize today. So I'm gonna be fertilizing my onions with ammonium sulfate, and then I'm gonna be fertilizing my turnip bottoms and my rutabaga just with regular fish emulsion. So I wanted to say that I do live in zone 8B, which means that our dahlias are hardy in this zone, so they will make it during the winter in our garden beds. We don't actually have to dig them up and store them. So if you guys are wondering why I'm digging them up out of a bed just to put them in another bed, that is why, because I don't have to worry about that. I have had dahlias, not these in particular, but smaller dahlia varieties that I started from seed, and by the end of the season they had obviously developed tubers, and they came back consistently year after year. So I just want to say that I am not going to water this bed at all. I'm not going to water it because these tubers, they store their own water. So that's why tubers are easy to rot out, because if you overwater them and they get oversaturated, they can rot. And I had, like I said, a few of them to rot in the front for me. So I'm not going to water them. And I know that to be true because outside of my research, obviously, this is a broken off tuber that it broke off. There's no eye or anything on it. There's no neck or eye, so it's not going to actually be able to reproduce. I have, when I planted these at the very beginning of the season, I stepped on one accidentally that was like this. It was no good anyway, so no hurt, no harm. But I stepped on it and water came streaming out of it. So that is why I say do not oversaturate your beds. I'll even have to be careful now when I water my rutabaga and my turnips and my onions, because I have to think now that I have those tubers down there. I do not want them to get oversaturated and rot out. So that's that. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys me fertilizing, and that's pretty much going to be it. Now I'm going to tell you guys that the next video is going to be finally me potting up our those bulbs that I told you guys, my tulips, my daffodils, because I am going later today to go get some soil. I do plan on coming back out here later and potting those up, so that'll be in another video. But we are finally at that point. I'm kind of at the point now where I'm just like, it is what it is. I'm gonna stick my pots in my garage to keep them in a cooler environment, as well as not having any sun on them, so that I can try to keep those bulbs from trying to start sending up shoots. Hopefully that works. I do believe we are eventually going to get into some colder weather, so I'm just going to go ahead and start them now. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and start fertilizing. All right, so really quickly, here is the fish plant food that I'm going to be using today to water my rutabaga. To fertilize my rutabaga and my turnip bottoms. I'm also going to take you guys to the bigger bed and show you guys that as well. It's all the same. I just take the amount that they say to put in my watering can. I did that. I've already filled it up with water. So you'll just see me apply that. And then the ammonium sulfate that I told you guys I learned from a subscriber to use to fertilize my onions, to make sure that my onions actually bulb. So I'm just gonna show you that because I haven't showed you guys that before. But basically, where my onions are, I'm just gonna dig little burrows and put it there. I'm gonna be kind of careful now because I have my dahlias out here, and this ammonium sulfate is it is a soil acidifier. So that's pretty much all I'm about to do. So you guys can see here, I've just applied my ammonium sulfate. I'm just going to cover that up, and then I'm going to put some water. I am going to water those pellets in, but I need to wait until that gets empty, because I don't want to be putting two fertilizers on top of one another. So Now, if some of you guys are wondering why I avoided some areas in my garden, a few of those are peas back there, and if you don't know, peas take nitrogen from the air and they put it down into the soil, so they do not need to be fertilized, or you only get nice green foliage. And my radishes back there, you aren't supposed to fertilize those either, because again, you'll only get foliage and they won't really bulb. So that's why I avoided those areas. Now, I do have one last little nugget for you guys. I'm going to take y'all inside so that you guys can see one of my sister's Roma tomatoes finally decided to turn, or at least started to turn red. So she pulled it so that the other ones can focus on doing the same. And then I'm also going to show you guys her bell pepper. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to take you guys inside to see that, and then we'll be done. All right, so here is the first Roma tomato that finally decided to turn. So like I just told you guys, she did pull it so that the other ones, it can focus its energy on the other ones. There's also one there as well. And then here is the big reveal. So you guys remember the last time I showed you this, it was literally a little nub, and now we have a full out bell pepper still hanging on late November. This is a completely different pepper plant. So there is a bell pepper, and I think earlier she counted about 6 more that are coming in. So there's one, here is one, and then there's a few more. So I hope that you guys did enjoy that. I have some coffee grounds here in my hand. I'm actually about to get ready to just casually toss these into the garden. Now, coffee grounds are acidic, which is why we typically roast our coffee before we actually throw these out. But this has been a huge help in the garden at keeping a lot of stuff at bay for now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some more out there. There's really nothing to it, but that is gonna be finally the end of this dahlia video. So I finally got a few in the bed. Like I said, I have about 3 more that I hope to get out here before the end of the season, but if not, they will stay put until early spring. So I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any dahlia tips, please do leave them down below, as I am always looking to learn more about those beautiful flowers. So I would greatly appreciate any tips that you guys have. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also turn on your notification bell so that you will be notified every time we do post new videos. And until next time, I will see you guys in our next video.